Sometimes we have to work in constraints of reality. Other times we can play with the virtual reality. But today we are going to look at third reality and what they can do for your smart home. We'll start in a couple of seconds. About a month or even more ago, Third Reality has sent me a bunch of devices and I was really looking forward to test them. Why? The reason for this is this one here. Third Reality is official part of Works with Home Assistant. In this case, works via Zigbee with Home Assistant. What does that mean to you? First of all, it means that all the devices that Third Reality develops, produces and puts on the market will automatically be supported inside Home Assistant. In this case, it means ZHA, since these are the Zigbee devices. But on the other hand, we also have great support for those same devices inside Zigbee to MQTT. But that's not all. In this group or bunch of devices that I received, there were also two devices or 1.5 device that are not covered by this Works with Home Assistant badge or initiative or program. They're actually Matter devices. And Matter is maturing day by day, slowly though, but still maturing. So I also wanted to see how Third Reality will be implementing Matter to existing and also future devices. And in terms of those devices, I was thinking of doing one, maybe two or even three videos. One that would cover, for example, endpoint devices, the Zigbee endpoint devices. Those devices are normally sensors and there are a bunch of sensors that I received. The second group would be routers or devices that are doing some other functionality, but also extending your network. And the third video would have been, for example, Matter devices and how Third Reality is cooking everything up in the Matter ecosystem and how you can get that inside Home Assistant. But at the end I decided no, I will not go that route. Instead, I will push everything in this video. First, let's talk about end devices. And in this case, this will be smart button, motion sensor, door window sensor, water leak sensor, garage door sensor, temperature humidity sensor and also vibration sensor. One thing I like about those devices is that all those devices work with AAA batteries. Because of that, sure, there are some size constraints, but on the other hand, since you can also operate them with rechargeable batteries, and in most devices here I am using IKEA rechargeable AAA batteries, this is also a plus sign. No more small button batteries, you can go for the standard rechargeable AAA batteries. But remember, because of rechargeable voltage, which is lower than the standard voltage, even when you recharge the batteries completely, it will show you somewhere between 60 and 70% of full charge. That's, something that we have to live with. Let's start by looking at door sensor. In the box you will get, well, actually everything that you get also with other devices, and that means you have two parts of the device. One is the sensor part and the other one is the magnet part. Included in the kit, no, there were no batteries, but you have double-sided stickers and also set of screws, which is hidden inside the device itself. To be able to open the device, you need to press on the lid and pop the backside off. In order for you to get it working, what you will need to do, you will need to insert two AAA batteries and the device will automatically start to pair. If, for example, you want to do a factory reset of the device or move it to another coordinator, just open the device and press and hold button that is located on the inside for around 5 seconds. The LED will change to red and after a couple of seconds it will start to blink blue. Next device is this smart button, which what it says is just a smart button. Once again, inside the box you will not receive your batteries, but as I mentioned previously, you can use AAA rechargeable batteries or standard batteries. Also included in the box two magnets, where you can hook one on the bottom side of the device itself and the other one on the wall, and then you can still pick it up because, it's magnetic and it allows you to move it around. Third device is a water leak sensor. Again, very standard device, and inside you get, well, everything you also get with the other devices, plus one small screwdriver. You will need this screwdriver to remove 3 screws, so you can A, open the device and insert 2 AAA batteries, Next we have wireless motion sensor. Again, inside the box you will get everything that you need to run the sensor, but also mount it. You will have double-sided adhesive, so you can permanently fix the device. Plus you also have inside the battery compartment 2 screws that you can use to mount device wherever you want to mount it. Pop in 2 AAA batteries and device will start automatically to pair. Next we have set of 3 devices. They are actually not a set, but since they come in identical box, I decided to go with them like a set. First one is vibration sensor, where you just slide the cover up to open it, where once again you can insert the batteries, but you also have switches inside that can be used to turn off and on the siren, plus also set the sensitivity of the vibration sensor. And mind you, this is something that I do not like about this and one additional device. I really would have loved if those settings were done through the software. But on the other hand, hardware is also okay if you do not have a software capability. But on the other hand, also having the ability to stop the sensor siren physically is also awesome. The next device is the temperature and moisture sensor. Again, same box, both for the device itself and also the packing. You slide the lid open, insert 2 AAA batteries, and if you need to repair, just hold the button pressed for 5-6 seconds. Also included, same as with other sensors, is double-sided adhesive. And the third sensor is something that probably my father would love, and that is the garage door sensor. What it actually is, it is a tilt sensor. Once again, 2 AAA batteries, but you also have switch to turn on or set sensitivity. Unfortunately though, as you will see later, you will not be able to set these settings by software, or inside ZHA or Zigbee to MQTT. First, let's start with the pairing of the devices. If you are using ZHA, and we will start with ZHA as always, devices work out of box, every single one of them. All of the devices are automatically supported, recognized, and even if there is an update available for the firmware, you will be able to pull that update inside ZHA or through ZHA to the device itself. Again, if you want to add devices, click on Add Zigbee Devices, the search process will start. After you insert the batteries or press and hold the reset button for more than 5 seconds, the pairing should start. First device I paired was door and window sensor. And inside ZHA you get everything you would get normally from door and window sensor. You have information if the door is open or closed. You have information if there is a firmware update available or not, in this case yes, and you also can see the battery state. Once again, this 60% is because this is rechargeable battery. I think that this one wasn't recharged 100%. But still, if it would be recharged 100%, you would not see 100% here, you would see, for example, 70-73% max. Plus, we have 2 hidden entities, LQI and RSSI. Normally, if you want to use this device inside automations, you would be using trigger closed or trigger open, depend on what state you want your automation to get triggered with. Next device we will be adding is smart button. And this device has a little bit less entities than other devices. It actually only has 2 entities, the battery state and the firmware update state. This is something that has been changed inside Home Assistant some time ago. So whenever you press the button, it will trigger event. The events can be press, double press, long press and release, and also long press and hold. But actually you can use 3 of those events inside your automations to get 3 different triggers by one and single remote. For example, if you just press the button once, it can turn the lights on. If you press it twice, it can turn the table light on. And if you press it and hold it, it can turn off all the lights in that room. Next device I added to ZHA network was the motion sensor. Remember, this is not a presence sensor, this is simple motion sensor. And according to Third Reality, this sensor should last around 2 years on the 2 AAA batteries. Again, probably not with rechargeable batteries, but with standard AAA batteries. Same as with other motion sensors, if there is motion, the device will go to detected state. And then you can use that detected state inside your automations as trigger to trigger whatever you want to trigger. Device after that I tested is the water leak sensor. And this one does have one entity inside ZHA that is actually not used. But again, as with other devices, you have battery state, the firmware state, if there is update or not, and you also have one entity that represents the sensor values. In this case, if there is a leak or no. You may be thinking that this is all, but no. Here is where I ran out of batteries and had to jump outside and pick up some standard AAA batteries, because we still had some more devices to add to the network. First device that I added is the, I would say, typical temperature and humidity sensor. Besides the battery and Zigbee update state or firmware state, you have information about the temperature, plus you have information about the humidity. After that, I've added garage door or whatever your country says for the garage. Garage door sensor is similar to vibration sensor or motion sensor in terms of it detects movement, but in this case it detects if the door is open or not, and that depends if the sensor is positioned vertically or horizontally. If it's horizontal, it thinks that the door is open. If it's vertical, it means that the door is closed. And the third sensor I've added is the vibration sensor. We have information about the vibration, plus once again battery state and also Zigbee firmware state. While we are already here, let's continue with other groups of devices, and those are the routers. Let's now add multifunctional night light, and also let's look at the smart power plug. While the device itself can work as a simple night light, it's much more than that. It's not just the night light, but you can play with the color, effects, and also brightness and start up and fade out levels. So for example, it can be standard night light in your home, so when you, your parents or your kids walk in the night, they don't tumble in the dark. But then again, it can be silent alarm. For example, if any door, window sensor, motion sensor is triggered in your home while you are at home, all lights can softly strobe red to warn you that something is wrong. This is not just a simple night light, this device is much more than that. And second device is smart plug. I really do like the design, the size of this device, especially if I compare it to some other devices I have. It reminds me, although this one is not round as a Shelly one, it really does remind me of a Shelly smart plugs that have a lot. But I would replace every single Shelly device with this one here, because it has everything that Shelly also has inside, but it's working via the Zigbee network. You not only have smart plug that you can control your devices with, and yes, it can go up to 16 amps in the EU on 220 volts, but besides it, yes, it also is a repeater, same as for example IKEA smart plugs, and it does have power metering, current, power, voltage, everything that the smart power plug should really have. And once again, I like it because it's Zigbee. If we add these devices inside ZHA and the procedure is same as always, you will get everything that the smart plug should have. As I said, everything to control it, everything to update it, to see the state of the LQI or the signal quality, but of course also to monitor your power. If you add multifunctional light, you will get even more data. As I mentioned, you will get state of the motion sensor, state of the light, color of the light, illuminance sensor, and much more. Or, if we would look at all of the devices we've added so far, it would look something like this. On one side, we have all the third reality sensors that we added: door sensor, garage door sensor, motion sensor, vibration sensor, temperature, humidity, water sensor state. And then we also have multi-light motion sensor, plus multi-light configuration. These are all the parameters that you can configure for the multi-light, such as, for example, startup time, on-off transition time, level of the light when the light goes on, etc. And we also have power socket that you can control and turn it on and off, check the frequency, current, power, total power, and also current voltage. As I mentioned at the beginning, no matter what device you select and with what device you go from third reality, everything is supported inside Home Assistant ZHA. But once again, Zigbee to MQTT is very similar to ZHA, but it does have one or two extra configuration or sensor or entity than the ZHA. Mostly, you get everything the same in ZHA and also Zigbee to MQTT, besides one sensor. And now let's check at the Zigbee to MQTT. For pairing inside Zigbee to MQTT, you need to allow permit join, and then you have to either pop in for the first time batteries inside each of the sensors, or you need to press and hold the button until it first turns to red and then starts blinking blue. That means that the pairing process has started. I will not be repeating this for all devices because there are a lot of devices, but as you can see, it takes a couple of seconds, and after that everything is populated and we get all of the information for each of the devices inside Home Assistant or Zigbee to MQTT. In this case, for example, the first one was the simple motion sensor. After a lot of resets of devices, this is what I have currently inside Zigbee to MQTT. Let's start with each and single device. First we have temperature sensor, temperature and moisture sensor. We have temperature, humidity, battery state and link quality. More or less same as with ZHA. You do not see here the state of the OTA, but if for example we go to OTA, you can check it in the list here. And now currently there are no updates because I updated I think 4 out of total devices I had, or even maybe 5 or 6, I didn't count. The next one we have is the motion sensor, which exposes occupancy, and it can be either clear or occupied. We have battery low information, it is false if battery is not low, and it is true if the battery is low, which is awesome if you want to use it in the automations. Then we have battery percentage, voltage and link quality. Voltage can take up to couple of days to populate, and if you do not see any data here, you have battery information as a percentage and also as a state. Then we have smart button, we have battery information 36%, battery low, voltage, action and link quality. Each time you press a button, action will be populated. For example, single, double or long press and long hold. Then we have door and window sensor with the state closed or open if the sensor is actually open, battery low state and the battery state in percentage, plus voltage in this case and link quality. Water leak sensor exposes water leak, is it clear or is it leaking? And as you can hear, the alarm is pretty loud. Battery low, battery percentage, voltage and link quality. Vibration sensor that will measure vibration, but this one does have some data that I haven't seen inside ZHA. If something went wrong and ZHA didn't pair well enough, it may at the end also show up in ZHA, but I think I missed this data. And this is the X, Y and Z axis. If you rotate and move the sensor, it will change the data here, so that you can actually see the accelerometer X, Y and Z values. Plus of course vibration, true or false. We have battery low state, we have battery percentage, voltage and link quality. Power plug exposes state, which is on and off. Power on behavior, should it be off if the power is restored, on, or if it should retain the previous state. So for example, if it was on, it will stay on, and if it was off, it will stay off. I usually prefer to go with off state. Then we have AC frequency, power, power factor, energy, current, voltage, and finally link quality. Remember, this is a router, and that means that other devices can use it to expand your Zigbee network. Multifunctional night light is the next device, where we can see occupancy, if it's occupied or not, illuminance, the sensor values, lux values, state, is it off or on, the LED on the device, brightness of the device, color of the LED, effect, which can for example be breathe, finish, OK, or whatever effect is available for this device. And mind you, unfortunately, sometimes this didn't work for me. So no matter what effect I've selected here on inside Home Assistant, it would not propagate that effect to the light itself. Then we have once again power on behavior, previous, toggle, on, off, and of course, as always, link quality. And the last device we have from the third reality, at least from Zigbee devices, is garage door sensor. It exposes battery percentage, battery state, link quality and also contact. Remember that this sensor is intended for garage doors that open vertically, so if it stays in this position, it is closed, and when it moves like this, then it is considered to be open. And if we add everything to the UI, this is how it should look. These are the simple devices, the sensors. For example, door sensor, is it closed or open, motion detection sensor, water leak sensor, smart button press, vibration sensor plus all three axes, garage door, and humidity plus temperature. Then we have power socket related devices, these four here. We have controls, sensors, configuration and diagnostics. We can turn it on and off. We can track the kilowatts used. Is the device updated with the latest firmware? What is the power on default state? And diagnostics. Diagnostics are not for the device, but for the power monitoring part. Watts, hertz, amps, power factor, and current voltage. And for the multi-light device, we have state of the light, is it on, off, and color for it, plus effects, list of all the available effects, sensors, and the configuration. And now you can use them in any automations you want to use. The entities are all there. As I've mentioned previously, there is not that much difference between ZHA and Zigbee to MQTT in terms of compatibility and the entities available. The only ones, if I'm not mistaken, are these three here for the axis. If you are using Home Assistant with ZHA or any other system that is compatible with Zigbee to MQTT, you are good to go. All of these devices will work. But what if, for example, you do not have coordinator, if you do not have any kind or any previous Zigbee device? Actually, this smart Bridge MZ1 can help you with that. What this bridge is, it is Matter or Zigbee to Matter connectivity device. And that allows you to have all your Zigbee devices connected to this bridge, and then via the Matter, those devices exposed to whatever else you want to expose it to. For example, once again, Home Assistant. If you're using, for example, Green or Raspberry Pi and you do not have any kind of a coordinator, Zigbee coordinator, what would the setup look like? First off, you would need this smart bridge. You need to power it via the USB cable that is provided, but the power adapter is not provided. I was powering it via the power brick. You download and install the app. The app is called Third Installer or something similar. I will be posting the text somewhere on the screen. You install the app, you start the app. After it updates to the latest firmware, and this can really take some time. I thought that my device was bricked, but no, it just took very long time. After the update finishes, you can add Zigbee devices to it, all of the devices that I've shown you previously. And then after you have added all of the devices to this bridge, you can use the app to link this bridge to, for example, Home Assistant. And that way it will expose all the Zigbee devices via Matter to Home Assistant. But while we are already here, let's talk about one additional device that I tested, and that device is, unlike the other devices, actually Wi-Fi device. Not something that I prefer, but Matter is using Wi-Fi, and that device is this smart color night light. It is very similar, or I would even say same as the multifunctional night light, but this one is Matter compatible. The difference between those two devices is that one is using the Wi-Fi protocol and the other one is using Zigbee protocol. One is working with Matter, the other one is using still Zigbee. If you want to add this device to Home Assistant, you actually do not need Hub or anything similar, because if you already have Companion app has a Wi-Fi network and it has Bluetooth network. Bluetooth network is used to transfer credentials to the devices. So what you would do is go in the Companion app, in the integrations page, and click on Add Matter device. If you haven't added this device to any other Matter hub, coordinator, whatever it is called, or bridge, you simply select No, this device hasn't been added anywhere else. It will pop up the camera, scan the QR code, and after a couple of seconds, this device will be exposed to Home Assistant. And you should see it in the list along the other Matter devices, if you, for example, already have them. For me, this is this list here, and Smart Night Light from Third Reality is here. If we click on it, you can see that we can control the light, color, plus turn it on and off. You can see the illuminance state of the sensor, occupancy currently is clear, check if there is a firmware available, firmware update or not, and then also play with the other settings, same as with multifunctional light. For example, off transition time, on level when the night light should turn on transition time, on off transition. There is one entity that I do not know what it actually is this current switch position. In my opinion, it is something similar or same as this switch here. But when I turn the switch on, this doesn't change to 1. So the big question is Third Reality worth buying? Let's compare it to, for example, Tuya or Aqara. First, there is compatibility. Third Reality is officially badged with works with Home Assistant via Zigbee. Tuya and Aqara, on the other hand, are not. A lot of Tuya devices, especially those that are Wi-Fi devices, will not work out of box, require cloud access or something similar, which is not the case with Third Reality. Aqara, on the other hand, those devices are mostly Zigbee devices that at least I buy, and those devices do work with Home Assistant after some time, because Aqara thinks that they are clever enough that they can bend the standards and rules of, for example, Zigbee protocol. So whatever they implement, it may or may not work currently or when it is released with any other coordinator than the coordinator from the Aqara. But on the other hand, since Aqara is very popular, all of those devices will end up and be available to Zigbee to MQTT and ZHA users one way or the other. Second thing, once again comparing Third Reality on one side and Tuya or Aqara on the other side, is the ecology stuff. Sure, it does make bulky cases for any of the sensors that Third Reality has, and design could potentially be improved for example, vibration sensor, temperature humidity sensor and garage door sensor. But on the other hand, those devices are using same box. Same box means you don't need to create a lot of cases for injection molding, you just have one type. You stick different picture on it, different electronics, and you get a new device. But the problem here is the size of Third Reality sensors versus size of, for example, Tuya or Aqara. Yes, Tuya and Aqara are smaller sensors, but they do use batteries that cannot be recharged. So each time you have to replace the battery, be it only once a year or every 2 years, you still create e-waste or even worse, battery waste, which at the end is very toxic. Third Reality allows you to use normal batteries, standard batteries, but as I've tested, it also works with the rechargeable batteries. Yes, the lifespan or time between recharges will be a little bit less than using normal standard batteries, but you can still use rechargeable batteries. These are, in my opinion, two biggest differences between Third Reality and the competitors on the market. But at the end, it's all up to you. Of course, if you are using any other sensor for any other company, you do not need to throw it away. Just consider buying Third Reality next time when you're looking one of those sensors. And one thing I must say once again, I'm really impressed with the smart color night light and also multifunctional night light, because those devices are awesome and really can expand on your home automation and home experience. You can use them as a simple night light, but as I mentioned, you can also use them for silent notification. Change the color of the light any way you want to create a silent alarm when somebody triggers the alarm, notify you if it's too cold or too warm by changing the color, etc. etc. These are really awesome devices, especially smart color night light that can work without any kind of hub, but you do need to activate Matter inside Home Assistant. Price of the sensors is not that cheap, but please consider also this. By buying devices from Third Reality, you also vote for devices that are compatible, work locally, and have badge works with Home Assistant. This, on the other hand, may put pressure on other device manufacturers that they also join this program and make themselves and their devices part of Works with Home Assistant program. Works with Home Assistant program is just a badge, but it also should give you insurance that the device that you buy now will work even if, for example, company stop existing or goes bankrupt or is sold to somebody and scrapped to whatever it is scrapped for. And by buying products for companies like Third Reality, you are saying to every other company in the market, play fair, play nice, we are the buyers, we have the money, and we will buy what we think is good for us in long term. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really means a lot to me, but it also helps a lot with YouTube algorithms. Of course, if you have any kind of a comment, question, if you're using already third reality products, or if you've previously used and stopped using them, I really would like to hear your opinion. Why did you stop using them? Why are you using them? And why did you decide to buy third reality over the competitors? And before I end up this video, I would like to say thanks to all those wonderful people that are supporting me and that have become YouTube channel members. Thank you for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, liked, shared and commented on my videos. Thank you. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get something there. Last but not least, as always, you can send me super thanks and I will be super thankful for that. I will be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.